So I was up in the Lake District the other week and I was driving around, I was with my fiance, we were having a great time, beautiful part of the world. If you've never been to the Lake District, particularly if you're in the UK and watching this, do go, it's amazing, honestly, it's just so beautiful. And it's really popular with cyclists. We found quite a few cyclists there. Now, most of them were lovely. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's difficult roads to drive on up there. Difficult roads as well to cycle on too. So you got to give them space. You got to be respectful. Some people though, some cyclists, as we know, you get some good ones, you get some bad ones. We definitely encountered some bad ones for sure because one of them was just not wanting to get out of the way. They were just riding right in the middle of the road, making it impossible to get past them. And I noticed a little flashing light on that cyclist. And I noticed a little flashing light on that bike. Just a little red light, nothing too distracting, nothing too big. Now, I've seen plenty of these before, but my fiancée actually said something really interesting. She said that actually it turns out that those lights are illegal. They are only reserved for emergency vehicles. And I thought, wow, this guy is breaking so many laws and he's breaking that one too. And I wanted to research this. I wanted to have a look at this one because you see them all the time with these flashing lights, right? They are pretty popular. They're pretty common when it comes to cyclists. After all, they want to be as visible as possible. I understand the thinking behind it, but are they actually illegal? Well, turns out no, not necessarily. Let's have a dive into this, guys. Let's have a look. So when it comes to lights and reflectors on bikes that you are riding on the roads, there are certain ones that you have to have by law according to the British government. Not during the day, but during the night. See, in the day, you don't have to have anything because visibility is pretty good. However, at night, particularly on streets that have no street lights, you could literally be invisible to another driver. So it is absolutely imperative that you at least have something that you are able to use to make yourself more visible. Any bike that is used between sunset and sunrise, so any time during the time when the sun is below the horizon, it must have the following: a white front light, a red rear light, red rear reflectors, and also amber or yellow pedal reflectors as well, that are on both the front and the rear of each pedal. The very basics really when it comes to that. Pretty much any bike that is meant for adults will have these fitted automatically, but obviously over time wear and tear can mean that these fall off or of course don't work anymore. So again, it's imperative that you have these for your own safety and also the safety of things like pedestrians and other road users too. Now, the lamps in particular for this may be steady or flashing or a mixture of both. For example, steady at the front and flashing at the rear. However, it's recommended that you have a steady light for the front, particularly for areas that have good lighting on the streets. Now, you got to be careful as well when it comes to the flashing lights. You can't exactly fit a strobe light. You don't want to go causing people to have epileptic fits or something like that. I mean, I laugh, but that could genuinely happen quite comfortably. So that's the last thing that you want. So that means that the flash rate must be between 60 and 240 equal flashes per minute, or anywhere between 1 and 4 per second. Now, the additional lights. This is the interesting part. This is the part that I think a lot of people have misconceptions about. It has to conform to several regulations, and the problem is that not a lot of lights actually conform to these regulations. Now, a lot of the lights that you'd get in places like Halfords or more reputable sellers, those would be alright. Those would probably conform to these standards. However, if you go to online marketplaces, the likes of eBay, the likes of Amazon, or God forbid something like Temu, then they're probably not going to conform to these regulations. But let me just go through them now. So, first of all, it must not dazzle other road users, which I think that is an incredibly ironic regulation, given the fact that there are so many cars that have these bright beaming floodlights when it comes to their headlights. But at the end of the day, two wrongs don't make a right, so you can't go dazzling other road users. That's dangerous. They also need to be the correct colour as well. White on the front, red on the rear. Do not get ones that are anything other than that, especially blue lights, because of course those are used by the police and ambulance services and other kinds of emergency vehicles. Same with yellow as well. If you had a yellow flashing light, that would make you look like your highway patrol or something like that. You can't go doing that. And it's also got to go with that flash rate as well that I mentioned before, between 1 and 4 times every second. The key thing here, the absolute imperative thing here, is the fact that it must conform to BS standards here. It has to conform to BS standards 61023. And according to the sources I've looked up, not many lights actually do that, particularly in online marketplaces. So a lot of people will probably not realise that they are fitting lights that are illegal in the UK. They're not advertised as such. I don't think these people are doing it maliciously. I think they're just buying things that turns out are not exactly above board. I liken it to laptop chargers and anything to do, any kind of accessory like that. If it's not actually meant for the particular device that you're talking about here, then it's very easy for these online marketplaces to sell you dodgy things that pass the regulation in whatever country they normally are tested in, probably China. But when it comes to the UK, they're not legal. And that does apply to this as well. But it turns out, as far as I can tell, the myth that my fiance, and I'm so sorry, I love her to bits, I wouldn't have asked her to marry me if I didn't love her, but it turns out, unfortunately, for her, she was wrong with that one. So, Hannah, I'm sorry about that. I'm sure you'll very much enjoy me reminding you of that fact when I see you next. But yeah, in all seriousness, that is a myth as it turns out. It's an urban myth. But there are a lot of lights that people have fitted to their bikes that are illegal. So there is some truth to it, but just not quite the truth that a lot of people think. But guys, did that surprise you? Did you learn something there? I hope you did. I did anyway, researching all this. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this on the motoringchronicle.com. Have a fantastic day wherever you're on the world today. And if you're a cyclist, check your damn lights out. Just make sure they're okay. They might be, they might not be, but do check them out.